So in that last little clip, you will see the drive shaft for the S14 has came in. I got this ordered. This is a drive shaft from Shaftmasters. I went with them again because when I had the RB20, for those that were following at that time, I got my drive shaft from Shaftmasters, one-piece drive shaft. It was perfect, no problems with it. They're great, and it costs less than going to like drive shaft shop. I think a normal one-piece steel drive shaft from Shaftmasters is about 300 and some change. A normal one-piece drive shaft from Drive Shaft Shop is about 400 to 500 and some change, and that's not including shipping and stuff like that if there is taxes and shipping. This, on the other hand, is a custom application. So this is not 3-inch steel. This is 3.5 inch in diameter. It's made to go to the cd009 in the front, and in the back it's for the S14 rear differential. I took custom measurements and gave it to them, and they said that they would get it done. I expected it to be like 2 or 3 weeks on back order, but since it's 3.5 inch tubing that they had to use and everybody orders 3-inch tubing, they got this out within like 2 days, and it was delivered on the 3rd business day, which was after the weekend. So no complaints there at all. 3.5 inch tubing. They said that this will be good to hold my power goals for the whole duration of the car. As of right now, it may change in the future, but as of right now, the power goals for the car is max out at 800s the wheel. This will hold for that entire lifespan and more. And then we'll be good to go with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and load this up in the car, take this with, and we'll go from there. This is what I came for here for the cd009 75W85. I think I'm gonna need 4 quarts of this, so I'm gonna grab 4 quarts of this, but they got some stuff in here that I'm gonna try not to buy. All right, so we're here at the garage. Today I'm gonna be putting in the drive shaft. Basically the final piece needed to make this thing running and driving. And that's that. After the drive shaft is in, I still won't be driving it because of the idle problem that those who followed the channel know about from past videos. I do have a video of me working on the idle problem, but so far I haven't reached any breakthroughs on it. And so until that's fixed, there won't be any test drives or anything. Plus, it's about to be winter time, so it's safe to say that I probably won't be test driving this until spring anyway. What I'm most likely gonna do at this point, unless I find something else to chase on the idle situation, is I'm probably just gonna be saving up some money so that when I take the car to the tuning shop to get dynoed, I can have them fix the idle first and then dyno the car, kill two birds with one stone, and go from there. In the meantime, during the winter, I'll just be working on cosmetic things like the headlights that I got a separate video on, the drive shaft that I'm doing today, probably some rear over fenders to get them flush, you know, some carbon skinning projects, the tail lights definitely. I might start doing the interiors, that just depends, but that'll be last, you know, stuff like that. So things coming nonetheless, but yeah, it'll probably still be a little bit before the car is actually like on the road driving and everything is great with that. But for now, I'm gonna set up a time lapse. I'm going to, you know, kind of sweep the area underneath the car a little bit because there's some leaves and stuff there, and then get going on this drive shaft. Before I put this drive shaft in, I am gonna fill the transmission with fluid, just because I know I will forget, and it doesn't have any fluid in it right now, so definitely gonna do that. For those that want to know, this is Redline MT85. Nissan recommends the 85 weight for transmission fluid. This is just a Redline variant of it. Supposedly takes 4 quarts, so that's 4 quarts. As far as that, you know, you just get your little pump down there and pump it up, but I'm gonna jack the car up and show you guys, and we'll just get this thing going. Alright, got the car jacked up and we are good to go on that. Always nice to have multiple failure points. I got the jack, I got two jack stands. I'm probably going to put a third one underneath that's a little bit shorter than what the jack is. Normally I would put like a tire that I'm taking off, so if I'm doing like any suspension components or something like that in the wheel wells, I'll take the tire off, lay it underneath the car too, just because, you know, if something fails, you got something to hold back on getting you crushed, especially with a lowered car. That's not something you want happening, and the chances of 5 things failing at the same time, you'd have to be pretty unlucky for that. On to the next thing though. So first thing, like I said, would be the transmission fluid going in. I have a new setup, or one of my new tripods. I just recorded from the other one, which is a 4-foot tripod. But this one actually has a light, so I'm gonna be using this underneath the car to record the next time lapse. There it is. Boom, that's pretty damn bright. Yeah, so I'm gonna use that underneath the car to light up this area because it's pretty dark, but as you can see, boom, it lights it all up. Woo, great. Okay, cool. $5 at Five Below. I'm gonna take the microphone off of it just because I don't think that's gonna really make a difference for me recording a time lapse that doesn't have audio, but I will be using this in a feature too. Came with it, might as well see what the quality's like, and that'll be that. So first things first is we're gonna take this transmission fluid. I guess I could show you guys how to do that in the meantime, even though this is a drive shaft video. And you get like one of these pumps, boom, and this pump will screw on to the top of most bottles. So you just pull off the top. It's pretty straightforward, honestly, but you pull off the top. You know, they got the little things on here that makes it easy to get out. I have, there you go. Then you just poke that hole in there. Make sure you can get everything moved to the side. The real thing is this packaging. But once you get that open, you open this up, and then I'll show you one. Make sure you get all that fluid, and it's pretty straightforward. You just stick it in there, boom, just like that, and then it should screw on. Yeah, this one's screwing on. Alright, so based on that last time lapse, you guys will see I'm gonna put the transmission fluid in there. It's pretty finicky, but if you do what needs to be done, you'll get it done. You just have to be patient with it. So now that that's all said and done, last thing is to put this drive shaft in. I'm really hoping that the measurements that I gave them were correct. I did exactly what they said. And so we're about to find out. Once that's done, we're out of here. So I'm gonna set the camera up for that, do the time lapse, and we'll go from there. I should already have the bolts for the drive shaft if I'm not mistaken. Yep, still in there. Cool. So I saved the bolts just for when I did have to come back and put the actual drive shaft in. That way I didn't have to like put them in anywhere. As far as the drive shaft, this pretty much just goes into the trans, and then you bolt this piece up. Now, there's a lot of different ways to go about getting this in. It's not going to be as easy as you think. That side may be easy, but this side is always going to give you issues. You may have to like loosen up the differential housing to lower the axle or stuff like that. I've seen a bunch of different tricks, so that's just something to look out for when it comes to that. So most of the work will be getting this side in and bench pressing this thing. So it was pretty easy for me just because I've done some pre-modifications to the rear differential to make it easier to get drive shafts in and out, but it may not be that easy for you guys, especially if you get the measurements wrong. My measurements were exact. Like I said, I sent them exact pictures of the tape measure and everything that I did with that one, so they got it pretty spot on. And it leaves it on the loose side for me to actually like be able to wiggle it in there and bolt it up, no issues. One thing that you probably would have noticed in that time lapse is that the light on this battery or on this thing died a couple times. So I'm just taking it out, putting in some new batteries. But now that I have the drive shaft in and I'm just bolting it up, I might raise it from the back, like from the axle, so that I could just bolt that up because the transmission side is good. I don't need to be under it anymore. So I may just lower it down and just use the jack to raise it from the back and finish bolting it in and record that. We'll see. Alright, I'm gonna try to get this with my hands, but as you can see, the drive shaft bolts in down there. There's gonna be 4 bolts. They're bolts, 4 bolts. You got the stud and the bolt on the back side that you got to do, and then all the way on that side is the actual part that goes in the transmission that just pushes in. You might have to wiggle a little bit to get it aligned, but once you get it in there, you just push it all the way in and good to go. When you make the measurements for the drive shaft, if you see that, let's see if I can get it on camera. See that black seal in there? And so you're gonna measure from that black seal all the way to the face of the rear diff. So the actual like surface. And those are the measurements that you take for your drive shaft if it has to be custom. And you can determine that based on what type of mounts you're running, what type of swap you got. It's swap mounts, transmission adapter kit, or however it is as it's bolted to it, and the transmission brackets and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to find places that make readily available kits if you're not going with only their product. So like, you know, who makes kits for the RB? You know, their drive shaft shop has things where, you know, you use the Skyline cross member, and then use certain swap mounts with the rb25 trans, and then they make a readily available drive shaft for that. But for something like mine, where I have eBay swap mounts, excessive transmission bracket with GK touch mounts and all that stuff, is just a mess up. It's better to just take the measurements. And then let's get back to it, tighten those bolts down, and we're good to go. So we got the drive shaft, we got the car lifted up from the back. Had to move mine for a little more clearance and stuff. But now you can see directly under here. Definitely will be dressing this up in the future. I got the ISR suspension arms, but you could tell that the lower control arms are still stock, dusty and corroded. We got, stock bushings, and then the stock differential in there. So all of that stuff is going to get changed out definitely in the future. I know for a fact I'm going to do different lower control arms. I know for a fact I'm going to get stronger axles. So those two are a given. I'm probably, I don't know for sure or not, I might do bushings on it. If I drop the diff, for any reason whatsoever, I'm gonna be doing all of it at once, just so that I could come back. That way I could just drop the whole rear subframe, do the diff, the bushings, the axles, the lower control arm, and probably paint it so that it could look all nice and pretty. Maybe even throw in a bigger sway bar down there, but I won't know for a fact until the car is on the road and I can feel how it handles and everything like that, get the race alignment and go from there. So that's another thing. I also am going to probably get some new coilovers too. But yeah, so this is pretty much what we're working with right now. I have the jack, the 2 jack stands that is currently on. The jack is just underneath, just touching the diff, but it's not holding it up. And then just in case those 3 points fail, I have 2 more jacks underneath that will catch just in case. So that's a total of 5 different points. That's what I was talking about with the whole jacking up the car thing. So I'm gonna set the camera up. I'm tightening these bolts on the drive shaft, lower this thing down, and we are good to go for this video. Forgot to record a outro for the drive shaft video, so this is, I'm clearly at home now, but you guys have seen that the drive shaft is fully in and installed to the vehicle. Technically speaking, it's running and driving, kinda. I still have to install my clutch line, but until that clutch line is installed, I won't be taking it anywhere. I'm kind of just saving it, just like I said. I'm not planning on trying to move the car until spring anyway. But for those that may or may not be wondering, yes, the drive shaft's in. If you put the vehicle, turn the vehicle on and put it in gear somehow without a clutch line, it will drive as soon as you release the brakes, or scientifically speaking, it should. So next video will probably be on the headlight stuff. We'll go from there on that, but didn't want to leave you guys hanging, so I'm gonna just say, like, comment, subscribe, follow the build, and with that, till next time.